Welcome to the PricePlow Podcast. We are in Dallas, Texas. We're at V1 Nutra headquarters. I am joined today by Konlan James Paul.
Got it. Nailed
KJP.
it. Nailed.
Owner of V1 Nutra. And also Landon Suggs.
Yes, sir. Actually, you know what? I'm actually very appreciative that you announced me as Landon Suggs, and I just realized you didn't call me Fade. I just realized
it was so funny. I didn't talk to KJ at all about coming out to this because you called me.
Yeah.
And we talked. And I don't know. I wanted it to be like exciting, like surprise when I get here, but it wasn't a surprise at all. But we talked on this call. I was like, I'm so excited to podcast with Landon.
Yeah.
Not Fade. Right. And
Right.
I mean, I listen to your music. It's cool. You know, whatever. Man, I was gonna name the boxer that you did, but I'm not a boxing fan.
Tyson Fury.
Awesome song. Cool stuff. But I don't think enough people appreciate Landon. Like, it is a different personality. And as someone who's like legitimately a friend of yours, like, I'm excited to explore that a little bit.
Dude, yeah. And I'm excited to kind of show that side a little bit. You know, there's been moments where, like, there's this hilarious clip from like 4 years ago or something at the Natural Body Blog Party where Ryan like interviews me or whatever, and I had this like weird like duality, Jim Carrey split personality thing going on. But I think it might not have been a joke. Like,
yeah.
Like, the more I go on, like, and kind of flip-flopping back and forth between all these different things. At the end of the day, though, you know, obviously, I am me. I am who I am. It's just, you got to be a little bit of a chameleon.
Totally.
You know?
I mean, completely different industries.
Yes.
Especially. So, totally respect it. And I want to get into that at some point. But a little bit, like, we're here in Dallas, Texas. It is May 30th. Yes. And we have a lot to talk about today. You know, we talked a little bit before when we tried to start this podcast and it wasn't recording. Talking about collaboration and all sorts of different stuff. People, this is like a Venn diagram right here. Brand, influencer, and brand. I hate the I word. I'm sorry. I don't know if you like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll take it.
Yeah, content creator,
Yeah,
right? Like, so,
better.
like, kind of a really interesting setup today. I'm super stoked about this podcast because there's so much going on. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering why we're all together. But on that topic of collaboration, we were talking about that for a while, just how cool it is that, you know, we create a lot of the same content. Like, I'm looking at promo boxes that I did videos for too. And a lot of people might be like, why would Ben podcast with Konlan? Because, you know, whatever. Why would Konlan and Inspired be together? All these sort of things. So welcome to a very fun podcast that we're going to get into all these things.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, just to go ahead and crack that open and get straight into it, when it comes to the people that are able to function within, you know, whatever realm it is, like, the confidence in what you do has a lot to do with that. Like, if you're a new brand owner, or even if you've been in the game for a long time but you've never got out, like, and had your, I don't know, just confidence tested in that way where you have to have these conversations, you have to be live and in person and on the spot and actually put out there that you have a passion for this shit, that you do live this, and it's not just a couple clicks every fucking now and then. You know what I mean? So, like, once you get those repetitions, like, obviously you're going to grow in those situations. But beyond that, it comes down to, why did you start doing this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and if you started doing this because, you know, like KJ, you, me, I'm sure, like, you were a fan of the industry, and like my first job in this shit was GNC. Your first, like, was somewhere down low. It's because we actually wanted to do this. We, like, had a passion for it. Like, I was fucking obese as a kid and, like, got super into supplements in high school. So, like, I had a passion for it that just, you know, continued to grow because I had a positive experience, you know what I mean, from using supplements super young, and therefore I'm a fan of this shit. And if I see something else that's dope, I'm like, that's fucking cool. I want to meet him, which is what happened with V1. I saw this shit. I'm like, this is a really dope brand. These formulas are god awful for market, but as a fan, I want to take this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How did you guys meet?
Dude, I honestly think either you DM me or I might have just done an inspired review.
I think
because I think this one has a one-stop sticker on it. And I'm pretty sure I picked that up from One Stop.
Yep.
Because I was like, oh, that's a pretty damn high stem formula.
This is authentic. This is real in person. I hope this is on the camera. Yeah. Purchased, not sponsored yet.
And dude, that's what people, influencers, content creators, whatever, that are trying to do what me and Ben do, and a lot of other people, is they first reach out to the company. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Just go out, buy this up yourself, try them out yourself like you're a normal person, give your honest review. That's how I started in like, even now I still like doing it because it's more authentic to me. I actually like take my money, spend it on all these products, and just
I love the reaction I get.
Yeah.
Like, just buying someone's thing and doing like good content on it.
Yes.
Like just giving value back.
Oh my God.
You know, like I think probably owning a brand probably changes that for you because it's your thing. Like this is the thing I miss the most about being part of a brand is having like something that I created that I can speak for. And I formulate there's a train around here. I get to formulate sometimes, and it's out there in the ether, and I'm proud of it, and I'm excited, and it performs and everything. But like having a thing that's yours is really cool. So getting to actually purchase someone's product at a point of sale, like supporting them at Brick and Mortar or something, and then coming home and creating content for someone is really special.
Yep. I mean, as a brand owner, it's like the highest form of flattery. You know what I mean? And honestly, even if it's not the best content, even if there's something constructive that can be taken from it, I think it's huge, dude. Like as a musician, like, and I hate to keep making these like cross references, but if all of your material sits in an echo chamber, you're never going to grow. You're never going to have any sort of like realization that there is like a path to get better. And like obviously you see it now. It's crazy. Like UCG or UGC, sorry, UGC is like this big buzzword, and everyone's like, oh my God, we got to get all this UGC. And we've had like an overflow and abundance of UGC since we first started this company and first started the brand. And we've always thought it was cool. We've always repurposed it and put it out. But it's crazy that like to us, it was just always, I don't know, it was just organic word of mouth. It was community spreading. And now it's like actually a marketing strategy. It's so wild to me. But yes, like the things that you guys do, right? Like breaking down these reviews, making these videos to put out there to people. It's like, it takes like our little, I don't know, geographical limitation where we can have like a little fucking lemonade stand, and it just like osmosis is that shit to like the entire world, you know? And I can't, KJ's like a unicorn here because he can review other people's shit, then review his shit, and everyone's like, yeah, he's telling the truth. Look at this guy. He's like the most trustable face in the fucking world. Like, right? Like for whatever reason, I don't know.
I envy that because I have gotten the opposite reaction.
Really?
Oh man. It's actually gotten a lot better. I think I probably have like someone like yourself to thank for that kind of thing. But like, man, 2 years ago, I used to get fucking hate mail about the fact that like some of our stuff was paid for. Yeah. I'm like, you own a Mustang outside when you know, whatever large car reviewer does their video about the Mustang 2024. Like, do you think they did that for free?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
You watch any other industry, there is so much paid content, sponsored content. I think it might be just because like we do create very like user generated feeling content.
Yeah, dude, right? And like you guys aren't putting out a magazine. There's no publication that you're selling. Like,
and so I think that's where it starts to happen is people get personal about that especially because this is something you're consuming, right? But I think that's something that's really important that KJ does that we do as well is like by the facts. Like these are the ingredients that are in there. This is what they're going to do, like, right? And so that's something like the analogy. Like you can't like if someone's out here like that's a V5 Mustang. Like no, it's not. They either make 6s or 8s. They don't make there's factual things, and so that's where I always base a lot of our content on was the ingredients. You know, there's a lot of outlets out there that talk about how it feels, which lends a little bit more to like the crazy high stim stuff that I don't do. I don't really talk about anecdotes very much unless it's something that is kind of out of this world or very different or very experiential. And sometimes recently synergy and ingredients has been a topic. That kind of brings that up because like, for instance, yesterday there was this giant, huge argument in our Discord about theanine and caffeine together, which is like apparently a polarizing discussion. It's like whether or not you want theanine with your caffeine.
Interesting.
But that's like a personal preference thing, right?
Dude.
So how do you quantify personal preference? Like you can't. But I do see like from the aspect of like a PricePlow, right? You guys are like a fucking statue in this industry. It's like you're a pillar of this industry, and whatever your rates are, like it matters, and it like is almost like a hard fucking stat. It's almost like ESPN reporting on your shit. Whereas, you know, a lot of these other little guys that want to talk about just how it feels or whatever, I still think there's a place for that, and I still think like it's really the only way to, you know, give feedback on synergy of ingredients is to talk about how you felt. But at the same time, you got to tell me what you ate before that, what you ate after. You got to tell me what else you're fucking taking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like really put everything out there because it gets really, it's hard to go off of that.
No,
you know?
Dude, I have to ignore all of the freaking emails that I get, all the reviews of like my products because it's like like you're saying, we know specific ingredients do work, and if the product has been tested, and like we know the ingredients in there, most likely it's gonna act in this way, even if we don't take it, we know. To whereas when somebody says like, oh, they took V1 and they didn't get any pump whatsoever, and it's like there are many different ways you could possibly not gotten a pump. Like, did you hydrate yourself? Like you said, did you eat?
Did you even go to the gym?
Like, did you work out hard enough to get a pump? It's like you're not going to take the product and get the exact effects by not doing anything. And dude, it pisses me off so much when people say stuff like that. It's like I just can't look at it anymore.
Yeah, so like 2020, I felt like I was like really like in the. I don't want to say that like I've grown above anything, but like I was like in the trenches of the industry, like, and at a certain point I decided that I wanted to make content that was the authority instead of like asking to be the authority or try, like whatever. I just decided like we were going to create authoritative content. This is what this is. This is how this is.
Yep.
You know, we talked about quality, we talked about manufacturing, we talked about testing, talked about all sorts of stuff that was like authoritative rather than review. That was a shift. And so it became much more like the statue thing that you're referring to.
Right.
One of the things that I love that KJ does is it does feel very much just like a guy that likes the stuff.
Is weird because I've noticed like it's either you have to go high budget or like UGC, like low quality UGC, because then people are like, oh, this is just a dude making a random video off of his phone, and he probably actually bought the product. He probably did this, because I've been messing around with some ads on Facebook and TikTok, and like the ones that do good are the ones that I film on my phone.
Yep.
That are kind of shitty, or like I'm doing a green screen behind me, and it's like they convert so well, which is so weird to me.
Dude, how funny is that? Like,
it's so weird.
I don't do a lot of TikTok, which is like what one of the saving graces of our, like, I really enjoy about KJ is he's like so big on TikTok. So like
Yes.
I'm like, I'll be over here on Instagram. Like he can get over there. But like the only videos that go well for me on TikTok organically without some sort of outside influence of like drama or something being engaging is literally just cell phone video. Like I mean, I've gotten millions of views on just whipping my phone out and just talking shit, you know. And that's my other problem with TikTok is the only things that go well for me are drama induced or negative.
It seems less premeditated.
Yes.
You know, it seems a lot more trustworthy. It seems more organic whenever it's just straight from your cell phone video, because obviously you're not spending money to make it look good for any specific reason. So I can see that being a little more digestible to the person who doesn't know you, especially. You know?
But I'm sure you understand this because like you own a camera that you do inspired content on. You are proud of something. You want it to be quality, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Like Mike was killing it with PricePlow when I came on. Like he was already like a standard of the industry, but he's usually like a kid in T3i. Like I was like, dude, we gotta upgrade here. We gotta make some good content. We gotta like impress people because like I enjoy like putting out this product for people to consume and enjoy and feel like there's some authority in it. But there's some people out there that are killing it just on their cell phone talking about the pre-workout that they like, which was really cool.
Yeah.
The
And that started a whole passion, right?
Oh,
that
exactly.
became a brand for you.
100%. No, it was crazy. I literally started in my parents' basement with like not even half of what I have on one of these shelves behind me, and saying like, I like supplements, as I have a degree in exercise science and nutrition, and that's basically it. It's like, here are some results that I've gotten myself.
Did the brand come first,
stuff.
or did the social media following come first?
The brand came first.
Okay.
And then it was kind of my idea to kind of document what I was going through, because it was nothing crazy. I was just doing everything at the beginning of Corona, so I was locked. My parents locked me in our house. I literally couldn't go anywhere.
How old were you?
I was 2.5 years ago. I was done with college. I just got out of college.
How old were you, young man?
I was like, I was 21
college.
I was 21 or 22. Yeah.
You're a man.
Well, I think we were just about done with college, and like the last 2 months, I think we had to do online because they were like shutting everything down. So I moved back to my parents, and then so did I have 3 other brothers, and those are the 3 to move back to. And then my dad's kind of a little bit of a health freak, so he's like, we're not taking any risk whatsoever. So we locked in the house.
It sounded like that worked out for you.
I guess, yeah. I didn't know
Right.
what to do, so I was like, all right, I'll just take everything online. Started the TikTok, started the V1, which was KJ Performance Nutrition at the time.
I remember.
Changed the name twice. Yeah, no, it was weird.
So you were documenting while you were creating.
Correct.
I like that a lot. I didn't know retrospectively looking back on it. I'm not sure at what point. I got to look through our DMs and figure out what point I was watching you. But like by the time I was watching, I was like, this kid's killing it. You know, like
It was ridiculous. Honestly, I wish I was doing as good as I did back then, because it was a pretty good couple months start, like leading up to the drop. I think you had got like 20K followers on TikTok. Instagram was like 1,000. I didn't really do anything on there. And I dropped, got a decent amount of hype, and started like slowly building. But once I moved to Georgia to work for the manufacturer, I was posting 3 times a day. Each video got at least 100K views. Like, stupid. I blew up 200K, I think, in a month.
I remember that happening.
It was insane. I had at least 2 videos a week do 6 or 7 million views. It was ridiculous.
What was like when you were at that point? What was your content strategy? Like, it was just, were you doing day in the life of an entrepreneur, or what was the bet?
I was trying to do at least one video of, I think it was day in the life. It was either day in the life of an entrepreneur who also works a 9 to 5. I think was one of the good titles that I went with. Like, that one hit. I think I had 2 videos with that one that hit 8 mil. So I do that. I did reviews, but I was waking up at 3 a.m. every morning to do one piece of content, film another, go to the gym, and then film another before I drove to go work at NutraCap.
Was this in 2020 still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2020 was good for me in that way too, because I was living alone in a single bedroom apartment. I was doing the same thing. Wake up early, start my first piece of content, edit it, get it out by noon, go work out. Film the second one, edit the second one, get it out. Did nothing else for an entire year.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, blew us up.
Oh, yeah. No, the 4 months I was in Georgia, if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have half the shit I have now. Like, that progressed me probably 5 years faster than anybody else that I know.
So you were in-house at NutraCap?
Yeah.
That's super cool. How many people, I mean, like, I don't know many people that have actually, like, even toured a facility, much less, like, worked at one. That's an experience that, like, for me, I felt like that built a lot of what I am now, like understanding.
100%.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. I learned so much just the 3 months that I was there. Like, how things were priced, how things were made, the whole process of everything. Because at NutraCap, when I started, they take you around. I worked a day at every single position in the whole
That's what
facility.
You need. That's the kind of thing that I tell kids.
Awesome, yeah.
Like, when I was brought into Nutra, they put me in customer service. And I don't think a lot of people, like, understand, like, how, like, the value of, like, starting at the bottom.
Yes.
You know, like, I remember this guy, the controller, Randy, he came up to me my, like, second day, and he was like, best thing I can tell you is learn something from every single person every single day. Like, I don't care if it's the janitor, learn something. And sometimes the janitor I did learn because it's a manufacturing facility. Things need to be clean, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's something to learn from everyone that can be applied in this industry. Understanding supplements, right?
Yeah.
So you were there for 3 months?
Yeah, I think 3.5. Yeah, and then I quit. Well, I was dating my girlfriend at the time, and it was like, at that point, we had our second and third drop. I think second drop was 1,000 units. I want to say of our Fat Tub Pre, I think it's behind you, V1, and that was when we were we were still KJ Performance Nutrition. And that one did damn good. I think that was like 25K, or something like that. We sold out of maybe 500 units or something. And then the third drop, I think I had protein, 300 or 500 units of protein, and 2 flavors of our V1 Pre. And that was at the peak of all the TikTok shit. I think I got videos of that one where we did like $5,000 in like the first 20 seconds. It was like stupid. People were on. It was like,
I remember.
It was unbelievable. Like, we finished, I think, sold out in like 5 or 6 hours, and it was like $55,000 was in my bank account. And like, before that, I always tell the story, I had $400 in my bank account.
Yeah.
So I was like staying at a $1,200 a month, 1-bedroom room apartment. Yeah, I was like calling my mom before that. I was like, if this doesn't go good, I'm gonna need some help here. Like, I honestly don't think I'm gonna pay rent. But then it worked out. It was nuts. But,
so I kind of want to understand, because like, so I'm crazy about like being prepared for things, and like, you know, like when stuff drops, like, you know, if I were to create a brand myself, like I would want to already have all of my things in place. So the fact that you were building these 2 things at the same time is crazy to me. So explain to me then. Yeah, so I'll digest that for a second.
Yeah, no, seriously.
So you, like, how did this work? You just ordered your first order and you just posted your first video, like, I've got a 500 bottle run here, or sorry, like a 144 bottle run here?
Yeah, so like the very first, I mean, I could go back to my phone, but yeah, I was like, I started the journey, and I started basically just reviewing stuff and saying, like, I know a decent amount. I've been taking this for a couple years. I can break down stuff. Just said put down in the comments what you like me to review or what you like me to talk about the supplement industry.
That's
so
so sick.
I just picked off of that because that one I think got 35K. That was my first well-performing video, which is super weird because I look back and it's like the shittiest quality video of all time.
But like we were talking about, that's authentic and organic.
But, then I just built off that, started picking up stuff from the vitamin shop, reviewing it. People like wanted Total War and like C4 and all these super generic stuff, but they do good. And then I'd kind of lay in, I'm starting this stuff, and I only had designs of pictures at the time, so I'd green screen it, put it up there, say, this is why I always like to use the word different rather than better. Yeah. This is why V1 is so different from the other pre-workouts, and just kind of built off of that, and then did a lot of videos about me getting the product, taking it from the garage all the way downstairs, and setting everything up, which took a while, but yeah, no, it was literally that, and I just built off of that.
Do you have any clue how much money you've spent on products?
Stupid.
I'm talking like not yours at all. I'm talking for reviews. You have any idea?
I probably spent at least $15,000 a year, some stupid number. Like,
I believe it.
I mean, I get a lot of stuff, but I mean, if we're talking 1-2 energy drinks a day, that's like $5 a day right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, that's funny.
But I mean, from the very beginning though, like what I got out of that was he had one part of the formula absolutely correct, and that's do something different, right? Like, this is what makes V1 different. Like, just from the jump, the fact that you're coming in and you're not doing exactly what everyone else is doing, and you're not saying, hey, my pre-workout's just as good as theirs because it also has the clinical dosages, because it also has these same ingredients that everyone else uses. That's the thing that really caught my eye about V1, that like was a little bit magnetic to me with the content you put out, and like, just following along with your opinions and stuff like that, which your Built Bar commentary is fucking trash.
Dude, Built Bars, they need to work on the texture.
Dude, Built Bar is the GOAT.
They're so shitty.
Before we have a civil war here, man.
I'm not a bar person, which is the funny thing. Like,
really?
Like, in general, like if you gave me a protein bar, I would just eat it. Like that bar you just gave me before, I'm going to leave it unnamed. It was good.
It's fucking metrics. It was great.
It was good. Like, it was...
I like it.
You
don't like it?
No, he didn't get paid for it. You can't say Metarex.
Well, we're gonna beep it out. What's his name? The editor?
Oh, Cody.
Cody.
Edit that out.
Big beep right there, Cody.
Or just put like V1 or inspired over it.
No,
This was an inspired bar.
People get so up in arms over functional foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, for real.
Like, I'm like, I don't know. It's tasty. The thing is, it's not a burger or pizza, so it's got protein and it's just like chocolate. I enjoyed it.
I have a fixation. I don't know about you, but I love any functional food, anything.
Dude, that's how Kayla
I'll
is.
smash it.
Kayla's obsessed with functional foods. To me, everything that's labeled a protein snack, it's all in the same category. It all tastes a little bit like cardboard, except for the Barbells or Barbells bars.
Dude,
those shits are candy bars. Those things are different. Everything else, it's just like, I'll eat it if I need protein, but it's not, I'm not excited about it. It's not like, not getting me amped up. I don't know.
We didn't, I wish we'd planned this and brought a bunch of functional foods for us to all talk about at the same time.
Yeah, seriously. When's V1 dropping the bar, bro?
Dude, I've heard from people that I've talked to in the industry who've done it, it's just the worst thing to do because it's so hard. Like, because they expire quick or just, I don't know.
We have a rule of thumb. Every single bar that I get, I have one kept in my cupboard for 6 months.
Okay.
Most don't pass the test.
Yeah.
I see.
And that's a real problem.
Yeah.
How long do you keep units? A couple stragglers.
That might be why Anabar's doing so good, though, because they're dropping, getting stuff out quick. And it's like, oh, everybody's eating it within the first month. Okay, fine.
You could do it. You still all your shit out in 5 minutes.
Dude, so there's that. And then, Kayla's sponsored by Muscle Egg, and I think they're like the coolest fucking brand in the world, right? Imagine that logistical fucking nightmare. Like, think about that. Like, because Muscle Egg's got to be refrigerated immediately. It's got to be shipped fucking frozen and all that. Like, and they have a RTD version, too.
Oh, really?
But it's the same rules apply. Because, I wanted to look at
preserved or anything?
It's not at all. So you order it, you get like a case of 8 or 6 or how, and you have to what is it, a month or something to drink it? Which they're fucking so good, they're delicious, they're amazing, they make a great product, and I'm a huge fan.
I used to drink that stuff straight.
Dude, it's so good. It's fucking delicious, but at the same time, I thought about white labeling it because dude, egg fucking protein RTD would be so fucking cool, but that logistical nightmare, dude. I guess you could chuck a couple preservatives in there, but they're not about that life.
Would you call that egg serum?
No, probably not.
Egg
serum. That just sounds
serum.
That sounds like an aborted fetus.
I just feel like all of your liquids are called serum.
They
right?
are, yeah, dude. Man, I was trying to do a fucking BLG ISOPF serum, and it would have been the coolest fucking, like, the beta-lactoglobulin. It would have been the coolest fucking
We
shit
talked
ever.
about this in the Arnold, right?
Yeah, we did, but like it wasn't. You can't get it dense enough without violating a patent. It's like a whole thing. I was really aggravated about it, but it would have been the coolest shit ever. A little fucking cap full. I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah,
gonna steal
stop
that
before
shit.
you give it away to someone. It just seemed too good to be true.
Free game over here. Watch the PricePlow
You got it,
Podcast.
dude.
Landon's giving out all the.
Got so many ideas. It's insane.
It was a great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. That shout out to Ben. Ben made that connection.
I did. Dude, connector. We're talking about this.
Yeah,
Came over,
dude.
grabbed you. But there's some brands that like these specific pieces of innovation, like just it speaks to me, like, or probably anyone. Not I'm like a visionary or anything, but like Inspired does weird shit.
Yeah.
So I see weird shit, and I'm like, that could work for them.
Well, and it goes back to like why Inspired began, right? Like you're talking about Chris Waldrum, the actual real fucking goat, like the
king
dude,
of weird
the
shit.
dude like sheds goat fur, like it's crazy. But like, no, seriously, like his whole thing was, I'm just gonna make exactly what I want, and that's the exact same, like, I guess, I don't want to say culture because that's so overused, but I guess. I don't know. That's the way that I run Inspired. Is still the exact same way. Everything that we like are gonna drop or make is gonna be probably the highest standard, because like when you're in, I guess, this fitness community, and like as you go along in the lifestyle, you start to like hear about certain little things, right? Like fucking red food dye, or wanting to start using organic eggs or cage free or whatever. Like there's like all these different levels, and I feel like as far as you are progressed as a human being, is a standard you have to hold your brand to.
Sure.
Like if you as a human being don't consume certain things because you feel like they're harmful, your brand should not, fucking give these things to the public. So that's the same fucking mentality that we're going to continue doing. And if we put something out, it's going to be unique, because if it's already out there, then like it's already there for you to go get that one. Like if fucking, I'm not going to make Devastate Dark if I can take V1 and that's exactly what I want, but with Devastate Dark fucking dropping in 4 weeks. Shameless plug. Ooh. With that pre-workout, which is going to be the craziest and most insane thing that's ever happened, it's very fucking unique. A lot of this shit's never been done before or used synergistically, or even told in a story the way that we're going to put this out. Like it's going to be like an all in-depth experience, and it's because it's exactly what I would want if I had like my dream choice of a pre-workout. We get
a little meta here. You ever record podcasts anymore? It's been a while for you, right?
Yeah, it's been like 9
So you don't cut reels for those from the.
I used to, yeah.
Well, so Cody's watching this right now and editing this, and that what you just did right there, that's some real shit.
Real shit. Yo, hey, we need to coin that. That's a fucking t-shirt. Real shit,
That's
man.
a real shit.
We'll just start that podcast.
So, okay. So we've been here. How long have we been talking? For a bit now, and we haven't talked about why we're here. So, right. You're in Houston now, right? Is that public yet?
Back in the H.
Right. So I'm in Jersey. Why are we meeting up in Dallas?
We're meeting up in Dallas because we're sitting at the table with the prodigy here, right? Like, and I'll just like be shameless about it and just speak out from my experience and kind of what I see, because we all operate in this industry and we observe what's going on, at least a little bit. Obviously, you try not to over analyze something for the fear of copying it or whatever it is, right? Like we all have these little things we're constantly thinking of, but watching how everything has kind of evolved in our industry and the fact that consumers are now becoming educated is like my favorite thing, because our biggest hold up and roadblock as a brand, like not to get too financial with it, but it's been the fact that our cost of goods are so much higher than a lot of the brands we compete against. So store owners or people that are less educated, they only care about the price point, and there's not a real way to gauge value in supplements without just this plethora of education being blasted out there. So I started paying really close attention to people who cared about actually posting supplement knowledge or about actually disseminating some of these information that like could be viewed as either just scientific knowledge or marketing, right? Like there's two different ways to look at it, but if you're ethical, they meet in the middle, right?
Sure.
And your marketing is the actual benefits that are going to be given. And I like peeped his game, like on what his formulas looked like, what he was doing, and a lot of it, not to sound like every other fucking old person in this industry, sounded like some shit that I would have done, or something like if I would have been in that climate at that time, maybe I would have went that direction. And like, obviously we always think that way about people that are successful. You're like, oh, I could have done that. That could have been me. Like, no, not exactly. It's just, I don't know. I could fucking feel the shit, right? And if you have something that's real and you have something that can transcend, it's going to have that effect on people. It's going to bring people in. So I remember reaching out to Konlan about V1, just being like, yo, I want to try your shit. Like, send me a tub of your pre. And this is after he'd done some reviews on our stuff, but I was like, no, like, I can't go buy your shit in a store, bro. Like, it's not, it's fucking nowhere. Like, please, will you please, pretty please? And I actually drove up here to Dallas. So I drove up to Dallas, met up with them, and I had been thinking in the back of my mind, like, what Inspired needs, you know, in addition to what we have, is just this abundance encyclopedia of content, or of easily digestible knowledge that we can disseminate to people. And with myself, obviously, like, I have a lot of plans to step out and be a lot more of the face of the company, and be more outspoken, kind of like is happening here. But at the same time, like, Inspired has been a dream team, like, waiting to happen. It has been like this amalgamation of Chris Waldrum's ideas and things that he's, you know, gathered throughout his tenure, that I came along with, you know, a couple years ago, and dropped literally everything that I have into, and really sold out to. And I at the time, I felt Inspired was the only brand I would be able to completely sell myself out to, because obviously all the ideals it's built on. And as I evolved as a person in the industry, like, the brands I've been associated with, or that I've had, or even owned, like outright owned, they became about the industry, or they became about the bottom line. And Inspired has never done that to this day. And I think that's super, super impressive from the standpoint of the brand's been acquired, wholly acquired. And, you know, luckily I'm still in this position to grow it and help it see its full potential. But in doing that, I need to bring people that are more like that. I can't just go out and hire the top people in each, you know, little section, like is what happens with most brands who actually blow in our industry. I need people that are going to stay true to this actual culture that's different, you know, and Inspired's different. And I think that if it grows, it'll grow in a different way than a lot of these other brands have. I don't think it's going to take the same route. And all of that to say, I see KJ as being someone who would be a very, very valuable member of Team Inspired. And I say that based on what he shows as a formulator, as a marketer, as a content creator, and as a human being. You know, like, he fucking doesn't like Built Bars. He's probably insane, but he has the courage to tell me that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna tell me you don't like Built Bars, bro? You better stay strapped, right? No, I'm just kidding, totally kidding. But at the end of the day, like, that's what I see for that. And then I also look over and I see V1, and I'm like, this brand is fucking cool. It's doing what we did forever ago. We dropped a bunch of formulas that were like Devastate White Cut was like $50 back then. And people were like, what is going on? Like, how are you making this? Why is it so expensive? Well, because it really cost that much, bro. Like, I can't, my bad. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just put everything in it. And I see V1 like, okay, there's a lot here, and I think that the brand that he currently has set up can thrive, and it can live for a long time, and it can grow. But he's just one man, you know? And I think the ideals of both brands align perfectly. If there was going to be a day that Inspired was to acquire a brand, which is not what's happening, I think V1 would be a prime target for that. But I think more so what it is we need, like, for the industry to get to a point where Inspired can be what I think it can be, other people need to be elevated to. The people that have the similar beliefs, the people that go after the same type of customer, which is that educated customer. It is that consumer that's done their homework and wants everyone to become that person. We're not trying to pull, like, fucking shade over anyone's eyes here at all, like, not even 1%. And there's a lot of products out there that have a crazy cost of goods, and maybe they're, you know, a better product, but you're doing a couple things here when you make a purchase. You're obviously going to be buying whatever product you want, and if it makes you happy, that's great, but you're also building that brand, you know? And as I get older, I get more and more conscious of what I purchase and where that money's going and what's going to happen because I made this purchase, even if it's like a 0.01% like factor in the equation. And I want Inspired to continue to be that brand where if people purchase from us, they feel like the industry is going to grow from it, or something good is going to come out of it. We're not just going to go buy Lamborghinis, you know what I mean? Like, and I think Konlan is the perfect face and voice to join Inspired and in turn have his products have a distribution platform. You know, our brand is primarily based on our relationships with our brick and mortar partners. And even though we've had significant growth and a lot of success online, especially recently, our partners are doing better, and they're going to continue to do that because we did build this business on the back of them. Like they deserved all the credit, right? But now we're going to be able to give them V1 as well. And obviously in the past, Konlan, bootstrap this shit, grassroots from the very floor. I have so much respect for that, and I identify with it a ton. But that's a big jump. It's like a big barrier to entry to be able to actually produce products like this and get them to a price point where stores can pick them up and we can get it to the masses. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bridge that gap, both between Inspired and the people and V1 and the people. And I just think it's easier to do that as a team.
Okay, so that was a lot. That was a mouthful.
Fucking A.
It was a lot of passion in that. You also were really good at telling us what this isn't. But if you could give me the real shit.
Yeah.
Tell me, what exactly are Inspired and Konlan doing together?
Right. So Konlan is coming in essentially as brand manager would be a good way to explain it, because he doesn't have any one specific task that he's going to do for the brand. And at the same time, he doesn't have anything that he has to do. There's no list of, you have to review this, you have to make this video. No, if you have knowledge that's going to suit the industry and it's too big for V1, we're going to use that. If you have knowledge that you think is great for your brand, we're going to help that be applied. And in the flip, whereas, obviously you put yourself in Konlan's shoes, you're a content creator, but the bulk of the money you make comes from your brand. Well, that's going to drive you as a creator to continue making content about only your brand, which over time could cause the audience to be a little less engaged.
Exactly.
What we want to do is keep Konlan doing what the fuck he does. Konlan does a great job of breaking down this information and making it digestible to people. And whether it's about our products or another product, eventually there's going to be an ingredient that we use. There's going to be some kind of cross-pollination somewhere. And the more educated these people are, the better. So what we want to do is we want to free Konlan up from having to only discuss V1, right? Hey, you're one person. Let me get 7 other people talking about V1 so that you can continue to build your following that's based on your knowledge, right? And so he can spend more time studying if he wants to. He can spend more time looking at shit, learning, disseminating information, digesting it, putting it back out, and at the same time get a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain of what's to come for his brand, right? Because I'm going to be pulling on him hey, Konlan, we're trying to get into the vitamin shop. This is what's going on. I need you to, pay attention to this and give me your input, on how you would handle this, because obviously we're going to cross this bridge with V1 in a couple months. Hopefully that did a little bit better of a job.
Yeah, no.
It's I'll try to do it from my side, but as soon as he came down here, I was like, I gotta freaking work with this dude. He knows what he's talking about. His brand, I've seen, this is legit. But it's almost the perfect relationship and connection to where I've taken this not as far as I possibly can. I could probably work harder, but just doing everything myself, I've done pretty damn good. And I think from outside looking in, especially on social media, it's whoa, this KJ kid's multi-millionaire. He's doing all this stuff because my shit's everywhere. But that's just on social media, and they don't see the other side to where it's Inspired's doing way better than me. All these other brands are doing way better, like Axe and Sledge. You don't see them a ton, but they're doing insane. And it's I think what I did for V1 can easily be applied, as it already has. Some of the videos I've posted blow up like crazy just because of the Inspired name and the Inspired bottle. I can easily just transfer that over to Inspired, help them out with that type of stuff, grow all their online presence fairly quickly, I think, and just take that whole role out of their hands where they don't have to try and learn and nitpick and everybody. I'm just going to move into that spot for them. Super easy, super just good for both of us. And then on the flip side, their whole wholesale, their relationships, I'll be able to use, and they'll be able to use that for V1. It's almost perfect to where it comes out great for both of us.
There's 2 conversations to have here. I think the part that V1's being distributed to those partners through Inspired is going to be really compelling and interesting for a couple different reasons. I'm sure you probably have a lot of wholesale interest. There are people.
Exactly.
I know this because a lot of brick and mortar is now creating content, right? There's a lot of stores.
Yep.
Hey, that's where Brett started, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stores making content and watching and probably want to know where they can get V1. And doing wholesale is not easy.
No.
So that's a huge, almost passive income, huge boost for you. That's very cool.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Landon was saying is if I can take all of these roles off of me
Exactly.
As far as like packing, being the sales guy, doing all that stuff, and only just V1 Inspire, be the marketing, be the guy behind the camera, the online presence of kind of both these brands are teaching Landon how to do a little bit more compelling type stuff. It's like that makes both of our brands just be able to grow a lot quicker, and he can handle a little bit of the backside. Inspire can handle a little bit of the V1 Wholesale. It makes it that much better for both brands.
So that media side is, I think, where really a lot of the interesting conversation is, because I think, no one wants to admit this in these kinds of words, but I think there is a formula to the content, right? Like if you had to write an SOP for how you make your content, you probably could pretty easily. I think most of us who do it daily, like there's a pattern to it, and it's what people like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is this content that Konlan creates, is the bulk of it going to be on Inspired's actual channels? Are you seeing him as a brand's spokesperson there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there'll probably be a decent amount of collab posting, you know what I mean, where it's on his platform. But like whenever it comes to the content that he's going to be creating moving forward, that's, a little bit different for Inspired as opposed to the other people that, he does reviews for or breaks things down for, he's just going to be talking a lot more about the actual effect of the product.
Yeah.
He's going to be giving a little bit more of a scientific background for it versus just saying, hey, taste, flavor, macros, I'll give it a 9 out of, instead of just doing that, like you're going to be able to see him, spit some game, talk some fucking shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that's really cool. And also open disclaimer, like this can be edited out, I guess, if it needs to be edited out, but like he's not going to discontinue business with any other brands.
Yeah.
Like the people that he currently works with, that he already has engagements with, that's continuing to go. So no slave driver shit over here.
Which right there just makes me want to work with him even more. It's like there's not too many people out there. At least he's one of the first people to be like, yo, I have something you might be interested in. You can help me out. I'll help you out. Let's do it. I don't want you to do anything else. It's like,
yeah, I'm sure you probably dealt with a lot of owners in this industry. They like to control. They like to try to use you for what they can get out of you, and it's tough to be like a value adder in this industry because everyone wants to take that value. Not a lot of people want to give back.
Yeah, I think we're just fucking ready. I think we're always ready. Like, and if yourself as a brand owner doesn't want any other brands to be seen, it means you're not fucking ready to compete. Like I'm always ready. Like there's if someone else drops something really fucking crazy tomorrow, like I'm going to admit that it's better, but I'm going to be back in a couple fucking months, So like I can't, I guess maybe in another life I could understand, like maybe when I was like fucking, I don't know, really, really young and like was scared that if someone else played basketball better than me, they'd get my spot on the team or something. So like, but outside of that, I can't imagine a world where I would be like, nope, you can't do anything else. Like, I want people to see how inferior these motherfuckers are. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yes and no in a positive way. I have a lot of respect for people who are so confident. We talked about confidence at the beginning of this podcast, that you're putting out quality.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're putting out quality, we talked a little bit about this before, and I didn't get the chance because I wanted to clarify, but I think people purchase for a lot of different reasons, but the more that I've done content and comparisons, and I don't do ratings, but I talk about all sorts of different stuff, I've got to the point where I kind of say, all of these pre-workouts in this room will give you a very similar benefit and experience. Obviously there are nuances to it, and someone's losing it listening to this because there's one has 4 grams of citrulline, the other one has 12, and you guys, I'm preaching to the choir here, but
it's the race to
put
the most citrulline in the product.
It's the race to the least amount of margin,
Yeah.
But at a certain point, as a consumer, you have to purchase from someone that you want to support.
Yeah.
Right, and that is a super powerful thing. And I think Inspired, for a long time, it had Chris, which was great. It's got you guys, but in terms of like greater recognition, if I picked someone off the street that takes pre-workout, I don't know if they know who Landon is.
Of course.
Right? But there's a pretty good chance they'll know who KJ is if they're into pre-workout on TikTok.
Yep.
Right? And so there's like an opportunity to have everyone says face because you're on a podcast right now. Your face is going to be out there. We're going to help you get out there. But really having someone who can broadcast is powerful.
Yep.
And you're actually a good dude, so that's kind of positive there.
Yeah.
And it's like it'll be that much easier to also just like have me in videos, and then me and Landon are in the same video, and then like Landon's in his own video and he's doing similar content style to what I'm gonna be doing for Inspired. Let's check him out. Let's get his stuff more engaged and everything like that. It's I think in today's days, like you're talking about, having 1, 2, I'd probably say max 3 people centered is kind of like the face of the brand's the way to go, especially as far as online content is. You need people to see those people and be like, oh, that's the Inspired guy. That's who's associated with that brand.
I mean, it's such a cool time with that right now because there are so many people. There's a lot that are worried about competing with other folks, but the people who have really like stop paying attention or stop trying to compete, maybe is really the thing. Like stop trying to always be comparing, have really taken off. Like, and especially as like a personality.
Yeah.
Like you talked about Axe and Sledge, like those owners, I mean, I can't name many other brands who have such distinct personalities that people grab onto, right? There's a lot of personalities in this industry. There's a lot of crazy personalities, but there's like cult followings of these certain people. I mean, before we started this podcast, we sat and we talked about 12 different personalities that we've interacted with, whether for better or for worse, and Inspired outside of our echo chamber of an industry hasn't had that. Like I know Chris and you very well, obviously, because we're in that echo chamber, and I met Chris in Cold, Wisconsin in 2016 and whatever, but like how many people on TikTok know who Chris is, right? So that's like an opportunity for a megaphone there.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's as good as Inspired is right now. It's like only with these little bit of tweaks, getting everybody getting content consistent. Honestly, I think it's going to be ridiculous what happens.
I just think Inspired's like this like diamond in the rough.
Yeah,
like this is a
exactly.
beautiful thing that I love that like in some ways I'm like almost like protective of it. I don't want you guys to blow it up because it's a special thing, right?
And I get the most love and I get like hit up and the most praise or props from other brand owners. And I think like Inspired maybe for a while has been like a brand's brand, or been like, it's been something that like obviously like you guys, like you said, we're known in our little echo chamber. But the thing about, I guess, like the essence of this brand is just like, obviously it was attached to Chris for a long time, but it wasn't just Chris. Like Inspired was still Inspired, like, and he's to thank for that. But like, it's like even now, and like Inspired's not me at all. It's like Inspired is its own living, fucking breathing energy, and it like is actually an energy. Like I'm not trying to get too fucking psilocybin here, but like real shit. Like
no, let's get psilocybin.
Inspired has a fucking vibe to it, bro, and it's like it's something you can feel, and it's so much easier to feel a part of Inspired. It just is like whenever, even if like when I joined Inspired, it was just Chris and Stephanie. That's it. But whenever I like flew out there to St. George, Utah, fucking took LSD with Chris, first time we ever hung out, whatever, like, and had this experience, it felt like I was a part of something that's bigger than fucking Optimum, bro. Like it felt like I was a part of this energy and this movement that's just asleep, And we started finally started like our actual official affiliate program, and I couldn't find anything more suitable for it than to call it like the collective conscious, because I real shit legit feel like that's kind of what we have here is like just a bunch of fucking antennas. Like in most of the time, it's either you're going to tune into this frequency or you're not. And with Inspired, it's so infectious and it has such a positive, I mean, shit, it could just be the name Inspired, right? But it really has a way of making you feel inspired. It really does. So it's just like there's a potential for like Inspired to become a lot of different things, But at the end of the day, like I just always want the messaging behind it and the feeling you get from it to never change. Like I never want Inspired to be looked at or seen as, I don't know, I guess commercial would be the word for it, right?
So in some ways I have all the love in the world for Chris, but in some ways I almost feel like it's better off. Like you burn the bridges or burn the boats, right? Is that the whole thing? Like burn the boats, move on, right? Like Inspired has to exist on its own now. There is no Chris to be that personality in front of it. Inspired now has to be that vibration.
Yep.
I kind of love that. That's really cool, kind of an idea that you put out there. And I like what you're talking about commercialization here, because this is a topic that we kind of have to battle a lot. Ironically, Chris is kind of dealing with it right now at his Nutrex thing. Like as brands get bigger, those core followings sometimes feel like disenfranchised because it's they're worried about margins. They're worried about their spending. They're worried about how the marketing looks. There's a lot of things that go into that. Once that due diligence has been done, once there's a marketing team, once all this stuff is happening,
Yep.
I don't see that happening with Inspired. You guys, you got bought. There was a cash influx, obviously, and there's
Yep.
there's a lot of opportunities. You talked about one opportunity before that I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, about where you guys may be distributing through. But there's a lot of cool things happening that don't happen for small boutique brands.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get worried, right? Is
Right.
the formula going to change? Is the content, not the content, but like the content of the brand going to change? I feel really confident in just being like, there's no way. I don't think Landon would ever allow that. I don't think KJ would allow that. And that's kind of cool that I can feel that way about a brand, because brands change, and greed is a big thing in this industry.
It is. And like, it's funny because we were talking about it with the Joe Rogan thing too, right? Like, if there's something about yourself that you've identified as being different or superior, or just something that you feel like is yours, whether it's, you're the first person who ever listened to Russ, right? Or you're the first person who you found Drake before he blew up, and you knew that was going to be that thing, and you were the only one talking about it, or the only one that felt that way. I think Inspired had so many hardcore, diehard fans from day fucking one that saw the brand, saw the name, saw what was going on, and completely sold out to it day one, and that's their fucking Joe Rogan. Like, that's their cool thing that made them cool, and like, there's a small chance that if everyone knows about Inspired, you're not the fucking Inspired guy anymore. Mm-hmm. You're not the guy who found that anymore. You're not the one who has the cool brand because everyone's wearing it now, or everyone's taking it now. And I think that has a lot to do with like those fears, and a lot to do with those things. And then obviously I think equal parts is when things go commercial, a lot of times they get watered down.
Yeah.
And maybe they have to, right? Like, maybe for Inspired to be the biggest brand it could possibly be, right? Maybe we would have to water down the formulas a little bit. Maybe we would have to, take some shortcuts or work with certain people that we would normally work with, or whatever, possibly. But if that's the case, then Inspired, then that's not, Inspired. That's a brand like Inspired that, if we wanted to, we could commercial. Like, Inspired will never fucking be that. Inspired will stay true to what it is, like, for as long as it lasts. And if that means that Inspired will never be the biggest brand in the world, then it just means that it won't be the biggest brand in the world.
So maybe if we want to dial this back and talk about a very good example of this is V1,
yes.
Right? V1 being distributed through Inspired, I guess is what you would call it. It's being distributed by Inspired. Mm-hmm. There's already been talks about a more affordable pre-workout.
Yes.
This is something that I've had to talk about a lot recently because of different moves in the industry. C-Bum's Essential, I think you're a big fan of.
Yeah,
huge fan.
That was a big
as
move.
well.
It's like one of my favorite pre-workouts right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can take that. I can take one scoop of that, and I can do anything. I can go run. I can do BJJ. I can lift. I can power lift. I could take that and do a podcast. Right, like just very simple, very effective.
Yep.
No one seems to be bitching about that product, but pretty much any other pre-workout goes cheaper, and all of a sudden there's complaints.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Like, oh, they took out the good stuff. It's underdosed. It's blah, 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 right? I see that as this is like an opportunity right here. V1 is going to have a more affordable option, or a more cost-effective option might be the way to look at it. What does that look for you guys? Have you guys looked at that already?
Yeah, I think
the
first product we're going to do is, I think, still going to be a pretty damn solid loaded pre. Not quite the budget, but I think the next one that we probably do is going to be around that.
How many pre-workouts do you have at this point?
Dude, I've done, I think we only have, 1, 2. So we got our Ultimate, our normal V1, got our non-stim, then we had 2 high stims, but the 2 high stims are done and they're not coming back. So right now I guess we only have 3, but I've done, 5 versions of each pre?
Well, yeah, I mean, how many different pre-workout iterations are in the back room right now that are currently being shipped?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Landon's like, I need to cut that down.
dude, to kind of help Konlan. So the product that we are going to first release in distribution, it is going to be a V1 pre-workout. I don't want to say the name yet or anything. Cool. I guess we'll keep that under wraps. It's really fucking cool though. It's going to be the best branding and marketing V1's ever brought to the table, in my opinion. And I'm very excited about that and proud of that. But on the formula side, I don't know why he said that, because it is just as loaded as any other V1 pre ever, but it is down to 20 servings. So in the past, every other V1 pre was like a full 30 scoops, and that's cool and that's badass and everything. But and that's going to stay the same. So another thing that's not going to change moving forward is about the way v1.com is ran, like, or V1 Nutra. Like, there's still going to be these, 30 serving pre-workouts that cost a fucking shit ton, as they should. But if you go in the store, you're going to get a more unique, rare, underground collector's edition fucking tub, right, of V1, just as formulated all the way to the max, except, it's a 2040, like most other pre-workouts, but you're paying the same price as you'd pay for a Devastate. Maybe a couple bucks more, at the end of the day, but it's still very freaking loaded. It's a different experience than the other pre-workouts offered by V1. And like, if you want to support Konlan, you want to support Inspired, then you'll go out and you'll pick it up from one of our retail partners, because they fucking make the world go round. So
I love it. So we were talking about kind of the shift in pre-workouts, like CPUM Essential. Something that I always brought up with that was, I don't know how much you guys watch of Josh Shaw. He's kind of like, us, but just business on supplements. He talks about the fact that channels are not changed for products. Like, products cannot just be like shoved into a channel like a square peg in a round hole.
Right.
Products have to meet the channel needs.
Yes.
Right. And so that was kind of more discussing like Walmart pre-workouts, which is an entire channel of content for you, Konlan. But that's like the perfect answer for D2C and brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe FDM down the road, but for here, going from D2C to brick and mortar is a very big change. It's like, have you spoken with brick and mortars about doing wholesale?
Yes. Well, that's the other thing, that like he has so much more, I think, opportunities than I have. I mean, I was writing out a list the other day. I think I have at least like probably 15 to 20 people that have reached out and either don't have stock, or like they don't want to pay the $35 that would actually give me even just a buck of profit. I have all those, and he has the ability to get in front of them, explain it the way he can, have the price now that we negotiated. That's a way better price, and that's just what he can do way better at that than I can.
When I first started doing wholesale for Nutra, I knew nothing, and there is such an amount of experience you need to know. Like, you need to understand. Like, you have no clue what margin is coming into this.
Nope.
Like, you might direct to consumer, you might have an idea of what you make, right? But then you're shipping to someone else, and they have expectations.
Exactly.
And those expectations are built off of an average of an industry that is not making formulas like yours. Although at this point, like, formulas have caught up some.
Yeah.
But then you have to ship pallets. You've only received pallets.
Exactly.
Shipping them is nothing. And then you got to factor all that cost.
Yep.
Right? There's so much that a partnership like this just makes sense. I'm a huge fan of just partnerships in general, right? If someone has skills, I'm all about dialing in on your skills. And your skills are definitely building the brand, building the content, creating kick-ass products. Distributing them is a whole nother class.
No.
It's a whole other degree.
It would just take away from what I'm doing so well right now, to whereas let me just double up what I'm doing, do it for a different brand, Inspired, and just they can handle that.
Yeah.
We both benefit off of both things.
Yeah. As a brand owner too, in KJ's position, like, he understands that a lot of the value of V1 is himself, and like, to elevate and get to a position where, obviously you can grow or do more, you have to be able to remove yourself from as many different aspects as possible. And that's like, it's super hard to do though. Honestly, it's very hard to do that. Like, I'm sure that there's like a lot of days where he's fighting with himself to just like, okay, I'm getting off social media and I'm just going to do this wholesale shit myself. But that's almost what it would take, right? Like, he'd have to, everything else in his life would have to take a back seat for a couple months so that he could, begin getting the infrastructure set up, like making deals with some couriers and learning how to do freight, obviously hiring some sales reps, learning how that works, seeing, you see some things when you go into like vitamin shops and GNCs and like you see selling points, but like it's hard to reverse engineer margins, like unless you've been in it for a long time and like you understand what else is happening and going on, and then the knowledge has to be fresh and you have to be on the pulse of it, right? Like, just me personally, I get emails from like every single raw goods supplier in America, so I can see where these costs are at this time or where it seems to be going. I also get the forecasts too, to like know like where those ingredients are going to be going. Like, that obviously helps me whenever I'm buying a product or when I'm formulating for the line, but it also helps me when I'm selling into stores, because I can let them know that's been cheap, it's not going to be, or whatever it is. Like, I don't know where I was going.
But the finger on the pulse thing, that's what makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. I don't know if you've messed with any consultants, but there are a ton of experienced people that will come in and be like, no, this is how you should do it. And they're giving you information from 5-10 years ago.
Yep.
Shit changes, right?
Big time.
Shit changes. Category managers at big stores, they change like regimes, dude.
And they like rotate.
Yeah.
Too. It's not like firing out. It's like, no, we just switched the fucking men's health and the whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, seriously.
Yeah. I remember launching GNC, then launching Vitamin Shop, and people moving over from GNC to Vitamin Shop. And it's like, all the things that I was dealing with GNC, I'm now dealing at Vitamin Shop. Like there are so many transitional things and so much that you can't account for as a small business owner who hasn't done this before. Partnering up is the only thing that makes sense there, right?
I think so. Well, in terms of like a plug and play fix.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think you could probably sit down and read the book on it if you wanted to.
Of course. But it's how quick do I want to do it? It's like
your screen time's already at 11 hours a day.
It's like I'd have to take from somewhere to whereas this is like I continue doing what I'm do good and only get better at it by helping other people. It's like it's a no question for me.
Yeah, I almost asked for a second what a typical day looks like for you, but I realized I could go on TikTok and find out.
It's almost the same thing every single day.
I appreciate that though, because your day in the lives are almost always the same shit, and that's how people are like, man, you should do a day in the life. I'm like, bro, I wake up, I work out, I work, I eat a bunch of meals, and I go to bed. Like,
every couple of weeks I go somewhere cool, do something that looks cool on camera for a little bit, but then I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, and believe me, it looks way cooler on video because I'm making it look cool. Like, you know, there's a reason Konlan looks like he's got an empire. Like, you have to present it all in a certain way, right?
Of course.
It's insane. Yeah. No,
got to dress for the job you want.
Yes, sir.
I love that thought process, though, because this whole industry is built on perception. I say a lot, like you know, there are people who you joked about buying Lamborghinis. Like that was a thing for a while, right? Where like brand owners, I'm not pointing fingers.
Nah, shout out PJ Braun. Go ahead and give that man his credit.
Well, Aaron did the whole post about it where they bought the front of the Olympia, and it was the photo of them in front of the Lambos in those tuxes.
I don't remember that. I just remember them being like over the top with it. Like, yeah, we're driving all these crazy cars. Yeah,
they had that famous picture where they were wearing like Italian suits.
That's badass. Suits. I mean, that's some fucking Tony Blanco shit.
Dude, they vinyled that on the front of the Olympia building.
I'm all about it.
And I mean, that was just like the industry. That was like just everyone wanted to look rich at that point, right? Like everyone was out here looking like Andrew Tate in the supplement.
Did that come from Shreds? Did Shreds start that?
Great point.
I was thinking about like the fact like you guys are saying like there can only be 2 or 3 faces, you know, of each company. I was trying to think back like the last like team environment company. Yeah. And like there's a couple that are like teams kind of like right now in a way, but like I think Shreds fucked that up for everybody, bro. Yeah.
Shreds did a lot. They influenced a lot. I'm being the Jersey guy. How many people do you guys meet that like say they were from Shreds? That's not really like a thing for you? Like,
yeah, not many.
Being in the tri-state area, like the fallout after Shreds was like I interviewed like dozens of people who were like, yeah, I was the content director for Shreds. And like it was funny. I worked with the guy who was the content director for Shreds. So like there were a lot of people after that came out and were trying to leverage that like clout after Shreds.
Interesting.
They went all over. But yeah, you're totally right. It was what was it? Joey, Devin, Paige, Arlen.
Arlen was the CEO. Yeah, I remember him.
Man, it's just but like wild culture. You were talking about culture before. It does get thrown around a lot, but that's a brand that had culture.
Well, they did a lot to like keep that up though. Like they would I'm not going to disclose my source, but like, for example, like when they flew out to expos to like Australia and everything, they really would have security. Like they really would get security for those influencers and they really would take them from place to place, like in Escalades or whatever, but it was all like contrived.
But it created perception.
It did. It was like what they were was an elite PR firm.
So I heard, this is going a while back and I doubt anyone that actually was from Shreds will even like come watch this stuff. I think most of the people moved on, but to extrapolate on that, I remember the one year they did the Arnold or the Olympia. I forget what expo it was, but they like planned like when they were all going to walk in, with security and make it look like this whole thing, right?
Yeah, that was done right, bro. I mean,
I respect the hell out of it, right? Like
he's impressive. Yeah,
I mean, but you get it because anything you put out there, like, has to look good.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
man, I got caught taking a picture of a Ghost Energy at this music festival this weekend. Like, I felt like such an asshole. Like, I'm out here, like, taking the wide angle pic with the concert and the people. And this dude, like, turns around and just mean mugs me. And I was like, I'm being that guy right now. But, like, you post that photo and everyone's like, oh, it's so dope.
Yeah.
It's so cool. You have to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, the thing I love about your videos is I can tell how many times you had to move that tripod to get all those angles of you going in and out of that door.
Yeah, it's yeah. I don't know. I honestly, it doesn't bother me as much anymore.
No.
Like I film in Walmart like all the time, and people honestly don't care.
Yeah. It's the funniest thing because at first you're like, oh, I don't really want to
Yeah.
be that guy.
When you film in Walmart, do you take the tripod in there?
Nah,
No,
that's usually me. Yeah, but it's like I always film and like pick it off the shelf, and I'm like in the middle of this freaking store just doing this with my phone.
You get over it real quick.
It's like and I just act like I'm taking a picture.
Yeah.
It's like,
Dude, we'll go places with Cody, and he's got like this rig, like this crazy monstrosity. And it's the funniest thing. We were like in Vegas, and we were going like into a bar, for New Live's party at Supply Side, and the security guy didn't even like talk to us. We just like walked right in, and I stopped and I was like, "Why didn't you like check our ID or anything?" He's like, "Big guy, cameraman." I figured just. Like I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, it's not that big of a deal. You just
Actually, can you get me a room temperature water too, please? Shit.
got that accent down, dude.
You do a lot of your filming on your phone, though, I guess.
Yeah,
Right?
decent amount. Yeah, I mean, all the other stuff, I don't know. My videographer has this ridiculous camera setup that's awesome that I probably need to get. But yeah, no, I honestly think all of especially the 13 Pro is like, it's damn good for what it is. And it's like, especially if you shoot in the 4K 60 frame rate, it's solid. Especially when I'm just filming myself going to the vitamin shop. I honestly don't want to take a big ass camera in there.
No, I can't go to my vitamin shop anymore. They know who I am. They're watching this.
Yeah, the vitamin shop. It's called the Vitamin Shop Louisville. They always like all my stuff whenever I go there. They see it.
I bet they do too. Yeah. Like, damn.
I'm surprised they don't know you at your local one.
They do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say.
But it's weird. It's like 3 older ladies that run it, which is awesome. They're super nice.
Start fixing their hair when KJ walks in and shit.
For sure.
They give me the good stuff.
They ask me like, when's the next Ghost Energy flavor coming?
They always let me do like, I probably shouldn't be outing them, but who knows? They always let me do like 2 cases if it's like a 6-can minimum for the dollar energy drinks. They're like, oh, just go ahead, just take as many as you want.
Yeah,
all right, I'll take it.
Yeah, they know.
Dry snitching on these ladies, Colin. Damn.
That'll be fine. I'll take care of them.
So let's get into some plans.
Let's get
for
it.
the businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, dealer's choice on this, where you want to go with it, but there's a lot of stuff that has been communicated that I may or may not be trying this week. I don't know what you want to talk about, but I'm sure you get a lot.
Yeah, dude. Are you gonna train today? Are you planning on lifting today?
I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning, so I haven't eaten, I haven't trained. I'm down for all of it.
Okay, you need food, bro.
I do.
Like,
I do. I'm wasting away. I kind of like.
I was gonna say like maybe like you could try the RTD live on the podcast just for flavor's sake, but at the same time I don't want you to like.
Everyone's watching this
glitching.
like, what RTD?
Yeah, that just fucking happened.
Is it a V1 RTD?
Cody, bleep that out.
Is it?
Dude, no, the RTD I do want to talk about, okay? Like, and I'll even give some backstory on it. So,
well, I saw them in the refrigerator, so I don't know if we want to get out here. Want to just
go ahead.
Have on the video,
dude. Yeah, like let's do it.
I'll go grab.
Where's that at?
In the fridge. Okay, so, and then there was 2. Okay, so yeah, man, like. Originally, and like we've already went all the way through the process, so we were going to, our first attempt at the cooler was going to be a carbonated energy drink. I think I might have showed it to you.
We talked about this.
Talked about the formula. We went all the way through the process, like literally all the way through, and we were at the very end about to go ahead and like place a purchase order, and we went to the Arnold, and like everyone and their mom announced an energy drink at the Arnold. Right.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
It just was the thing, and I was like, man, I was kind of scared this was gonna happen. So, like, and shout out to those guys too. It was like Axis Sledge and All Black Everything, and they both like brought the fucking thunder. Like they both brought really cool products. And I was like, okay, well if I do this right now, it's gonna look like I'm the Me Too guy. And like we were right there, so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to kind of pull back a little bit. And it's not just the Me Too situation. It's also the fact that, like, that's a lot of shelf space that just got taken, and coolers are very limited, like, as it is.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you're saying it that way, because the thought of Inspired being worried about being Me Too is just preposterous to me. Like, you guys do such interesting things, and you speak to a different, Axe and Sledge, I got love for them. I worked with them for years.
Yeah.
All Black Everything, TJ's my boy. Like, they do some cool shit over there.
Cool shit.
But you guys, I know what you're doing would be interesting, but I think the shelf space is a much more compelling thought process there.
Of course. Yeah. Shelf space is a big deal, right? Like, especially in the little coolers and whatnot. And we had the tooling or go ahead.
I was just going to say, when it comes to powders, I laugh at people when they talk about shelf space, because, like, that's like a early 2000s sales rep game. Like, when it comes to energy drinks, there's literally only so many things in a cooler. Like, they're not going to buy another refrigerator just for Inspired. They should. No, I won't.
Exactly, right? Like, it's easy. Like, with pre-workout, like, a store can go from 100 to 102 pre-workouts easily. Like, they're going to sell every fucking one anyway. But, like, so, and that's, like, what I was thinking about. I was like, okay, well, I do want to attack the coolers, right? Like, I do want to have something that is functional, ready to go. And I got a call from the person who was doing our cans, like, hey, just to let you know, like, we can do that still formula you wanted to do. So I was like, interesting, right? Because I had wanted to get into the pre-workout RTD game, and I wanted to do it for a couple reasons. Like, number one, we've been known for Devastate for so long now, and Devastate's name is synonymous with quality pre-workout, and I think it would be a disservice to the brand for that to not eventually be a thing. But then also, I know, like, and you guys, I'm sure, feel the exact same way. There's a lot of ingredients that have never been used in RTDs that totally can. They're water soluble. There is no reason to not use them, right? They're not short shelf life, anything that would keep it out of an RTD. So there's a lot of, like, open real estate for me to play with and, like, be able to flex the first thing on. But even more than that, it's a game that's already set up for us to win. We've got 10 plus years in the game showing that we do pre-workout well. We've never fucking touched an energy drink, and just because a lot of these brands in the industry are starting to release energy drinks, like, I'm sure there's great reasons why. Like, All Black Everything has a great fucking supply chain. Axe and Sledge have a huge audience, like, massive audience, and they have icy collabs. Like, it makes perfect sense for them to do it. For the landscape where Inspired was at that moment, I just wanted to put a pause on it, and I didn't want that to be the way that we broke into coolers, because it's just not who we are. So instead, what I did is I put everything in the fucking world, literally, no, not basically, in a RTD, and made this insanely great formula for a Devastate RTD, and was a little worried about it because I was like, I don't know if this is going to actually work. Like, it's a lot of stuff to be putting into a drink. It's probably going to taste like feet. Like, what's going to be the issue? No, like, first try basically proved everything. Like, we changed flavors a tiny little bit, but that being said, man, like, it's the first RTD pre-workout that you will want over a powder. And I literally mean, you will look at both formulas and you will choose on certain days, and probably on more days than not, you will choose this RTD formula. I definitely will give a lot of credit to Raw.
I was just going to make a joke about this, because I think you called me after I did my Raw video where I called that the most loaded RTD.
The pump. Yeah, the Raw pump. And it fucking was. It's great. The Raw pump is, I mean, both of them are great, right?
I was going to say both of them
they've merged it now, right? Or
no. They just
changed the branding on Thavage.
So they match.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thavage is great too. I thought it was really fucking good. And shout out to those guys, because they came out and they actually did something that I wanted to do before I could do it.
I got a lot of respect for a culture brand, not that their products are bad at all. I think you probably reviewed a bunch of them and really liked them. Like,
solid, yeah.
They're a culture brand. People buy them for the culture. I don't think people realize how good the pre-workouts are. Like,
yes,
on paper. Like, I know Bumstead's awesome. Jansen's great. Dom's inspiring. But, like, I want to buy from them to support them. But, like, the formulas without those names are good. And I like that.
And they don't have to do that. You're right. They don't have to. They could just use that star power and sell on that alone. But they actually put out really cool shit. So shout out to those guys for that.
Yeah. And so I was talking, and, I was stoked about their RTDs because they're packing stuff in there. Like, I mean, you've done a lot of RTDs. Like, I have a hard time finding an RTD that I want to take that isn't just 400 megs caffeine and Yohimbe.
I agree. It's like, I'm trying to think of which ones are in the vitamin shop, and the only one I can think of is Total War.
Total War is good. It's not bad.
It's okay. Yeah,
Which I think tastes better than their powder version.
For sure.
Be honest.
It tastes great.
I think we could give some shouts to some good brands here.
100%.
In the spirit of collaboration. Total War is pretty good. Raw did theirs really well. Primeval and VMI both did really nice 16 ounces or 12 ounces that were like, they had some decent stuff in there. Those were kind of full dosed stuff. But it seemed like the industry was kind of dancing around with the same amount of actives, the same kinds of ingredients. So I was never really like an RTD guy. I don't know a lot about the technology in terms of suspending ingredients and them being soluble and stuff like that. So I'm super curious, like, what you found to put in these and like what wasn't used already, because we had a discussion about this
so much.
Like, but why weren't those things being used? Was it a technology issue? Was it a creativity issue? What like because
the different ingredients and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, different things, right? Like, so like, for example, even if something is water soluble or water dispersible, like certain things, even if they can't live in an acidic environment, right? Like it's going to cut down on the efficacy of it, or it's just straight up not going to work at all. Or you're going to have like a Zoom XR that the coating is going to wear off of it, and now it's just instant release caffeine, right? Like with us, like, or a couple things that I didn't expect, right? Like L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine's a big no-no. I didn't think it was going to be a fucking no-no. Like you've shaken up a fucking pre-workout with L-tyrosine a million goddamn times. Well, no L-tyrosine in RTD, man. I'm sorry. So like fucking we got 2 grams of acetyl L in this shit.
Nice.
It's a banger, bro. I can't wait to talk
me
some
the
shit.
formula, and he like kept going, and I was like, Jesus Christ,
It's
loaded.
Man, it really is everything that we prop it up to be and everything we say it is, and that's the only way it's going to make sense. This is only going to work if we can move some volume, because there's I'm just keeping it real. But I have faith in that, right? Like I have faith in it. Like if you know that like I'm taking a risk here and it's probably not going to be here tomorrow, so you better buy it today, right? Otherwise you're going to be stuck with this other one forever. Like maybe someone will buy it because they're like, this dude's a fucking idiot. This shit's not going to last, right? Like,
That's called hype.
yes. Hey, shh. No one can know that, man. Stop.
So the product, pre-workout RTD,
Yes.
a 30-second pitch. You don't have to give me ingredients if you don't want to, but like you're pitching this to a new category manager. What is the pitch on it? Like, what is it?
It is not a hybrid. It is not meant to be an energy drink and a pre-workout. It is just a fucking pre-workout. It's an over-the-top experience. It's going to be a high-stem, insane, ridiculous, crazy ride that you're not going to get from any other, over-the-counter RTD. And I think that a lot of brands fall into that trap of trying to make it somewhat a hybrid. Like, it's a pre-workout, but you could drink it on your way to work if you want. Like, if you drink this shit on your way to work, like, your boss is going to ask you, like, what happened to you? You know what I mean? Like, this is actually made to go to the gym, rip some fucking shit up.
So pre and pump, not just
Yes.
energy, not just pump.
Oh my God. Okay. Other than fucking, what else do you take a pump? When you work out. That's it. That's it. It's like, right. So like I know that we've separated like pre-workouts and pumps, and like a lot of that was due to, I don't know, supply chain or COVID or, the economy and our inflation thanks to our government, whatever.
I got other parts of this that I want to talk about with KJ in terms of stacking pre and pump. I want to talk about that a little bit.
For sure.
But I totally agree with you on that point, because we started splitting up these formulas, and now you got a $35 pre-workout, $35 pump, and all of a sudden he and I have to tell people to go spend $70 on the pre-workout for a dude that's never going to compete in bodybuilding in his life. But here's $70 a month you got to go spend on some arbitrary pre-workout because I tell you to, right?
Exactly. Like, so, and that's where we're going to land. We're going to land at the fucking point where if you want to, you can buy the most expensive pre and the most expensive pump, put them together, or like, I think multiple brands like V1 are going to offer all these different tiers of pre's and all these different types of pre's, because we're going to realize that people don't have specific favorite pre-workouts. Pre-workouts are just better for certain people.
For sure.
Like what we've been preaching for years and years and years. Finally, people are going to realize it, like, oh, holy shit, like 5 grams of Yohimbe isn't the universal answer. Every now and then, someone's not going to like that. Holy shit. Like, so that,
That's funny, because so Mike and I, we were talking about like how many faces can like represent a brand. Like Mike's the perfect yin to my yang. Like hates Alpha Yo. Like couldn't take Legend V2 in 2 scoops. And most people like on the internet think that Legend V2 was like for pussies or something. Like couldn't do 2 scoops of it because of the Alpha Yo. there's different things for different people. People metabolize caffeine differently,
Yeah.
like very, very simply. So you're saying stim and pump is perfect together in a ready-made drink. I love
That's
it.
I think that's the coolest thing. Is like you don't need to stack it. You don't need to take literally anything else with it. It's by itself unbelievable.
Yeah.
I love that.
You don't need nothing. You don't need anything at all. But you do need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You don't need to drink this before a study session.
So
right?
it sounds awesome. Is it going to be expensive?
Not more expensive than everything else that's on the market right now.
Very cool.
It's not going to be, we're going to be coming in very competitively priced compared to, Thavage or Bum Pump or,
You kind of have to in that kind of market, right? Of
course.
To be next to them on there and for people to consider that.
Yep.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I'll be drinking that before the workout later.
I can't fucking wait, dude. I'm so excited. But I mean, like, there's so much. Like, and I don't know if you guys want to, like, go ahead and jump into the pre versus pump convo or, like, continue on the drops that are coming because we got so much pressure.
Well, let's talk about the pre and pump combo and then get back into drops. 'Cause I think we could talk about drops for a while.
Fair.
And we could even talk about V1 drops if you guys want to as well. We kind of already talked about pre stuff.
Yeah.
But do you stack pre-workouts every single day?
Honestly, no. I weirdly I don't take a lot of stim pre's, to be honest.
So
I get all my caffeine from energy drinks, and it's like I work out usually later, 3-4. It's like, I probably shouldn't have 200 more milligrams of caffeine. It's like, let's take a pump.
That was going to kind of be when you started saying like pump, like kind of talking about like pump pre-workouts as it like almost not unnecessary, but what you were talking about. To me, it's the stim-free portion, not the call out of the pump, but the same pre-workout without the stimulants. That is what's valuable to me, because there's a lot of things that I wouldn't put in a pump product, not because they're stimulants, but because there just doesn't make sense just solely for pump.
Yeah.
I like stim-free pre-workouts because you still get all of the ergogenics and all the performance and all that stuff, just without the more caffeine. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I do it, to be honest. Because like sometimes I do take. Well, I probably take caffeinated or stimulant pre at least 2-3 times a week. So about half and half. But like when I do take it, I'm like, holy shit, why am I not taking this? This feels unbelievable. But like I don't know. I just like energy drinks, and then it gets to that point I have 2 a day, and it's like I probably shouldn't have any more stimulants for the day.
So you max out like 400, 500 a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like to go more than that. Some days I do, definitely, but
That was like a little inside like joke or like running little just annoying nuance to me and Chris Waldrum, because like when we had FSU, do you remember like the old FSU in the white tub that like was super, super popular? It had like the lion's mane in it. It had a bunch of like,
I know like
nootropics.
everything you've ever made, and I can talk about. I want to get into talking about that.
Okay, well with that one, right? With that FSU, it was by far the best fucking pump product in the category for a long time, right? We got snubbed on best pump product over and over again because people were like, it's not a pump product, it's a non-stim pre. I'm like, okay, whatever. So then we go back. We make FSU Die Hard. We take out all the fucking adaptogens and all the nootropics, right? And we put it out just as a pump product. Sorry, bro, it's just a pump product. It's not a non-stim pre. Like, we just missed the timing of this shit, like so drastically and dramatic. So like I have like in the back of my mind every time someone's like, "Is it a pre or a pump?" I'm like, there is no such thing as a pump without the pre. Like,
There you go.
yeah. So like I'm in agreement with you.
Dude.
What you hate? What?
The award stuff.
Oh, man.
Like you don't do any like kind of end of the year awards for your stuff, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
For like reviews now.
Yeah.
It's a love-hate thing, bro. It's such a good thing for like platforms like you to be able to get clicks, though.
Gets
like,
me great clicks for sure, and I really like giving back to people who I think did some cool shit.
Yes.
But like, there was one year where Inspired. I always joked with Chris about this, and I think it bled over to you sometimes too. But like, Inspired had great years, and then you had like coast years. You know, it was just like that year with greens, multi, like that year, the collagen protein, like that was a fucking blockbuster year for Inspired. You know, that you had seasons, and it would happen where like maybe just like Q3, Q4, you had a really good couple drops. And like I always feel bad for brands that like didn't do it for 12 months. Because if you looked at the paper, it's like, well, if we're going to go, like, because we track, we have a lot of software in the industry that scrapes. And so we'll literally go like look at all their drops for the entire year before we do an award. And it's like Inspired really deserves something this year, dude. They kicked some ass. And then like you were saying, like there'll be like an argument, like whatever. That FSU was badass, dude. That was an awesome pre-workout. My ex actually used that for a powerlifting competition, and I remember telling her, like, actually, I didn't say anything at the competition because I didn't want to mess with her head. But I remember afterwards being like, there's no stims in that. Mm-hmm. But the focus on those adaptogens, and there's something about blood flow too that just feels good. Yep. Like, she loved it for powerlifting, which is like, it was an awesome product. Didn't taste that great because of all the adaptogens.
Yeah.
But that was like right before everything started tasting like candy.
It was right at the turn. Yeah. Like, I mean, eventually the good flavor houses are going to get their fucking samples out to the manufacturers and people are going to switch.
Yeah. It was, what was the Lion's Mane? Was there any Pico 2 in there? I remember the Lion's Mane.
No, I don't think there was Pico 2. There was Lion's Mane in there. There was Neurofactor in there.
There was something gritty in there. It must have been the Lion's Mane, I remember.
The Lion's Mane, I want to say there was ashwagandha as well.
Yeah.
It was, it was very loaded. I mean, it was like the first time anyone really ever actually dropped glycerophosphates in there for the actual use. You know, it was the Inspired's first crack at nitrates.
Mm-hmm. Remember?
By force.
Remember? Big dosages.
Yeah.
That was,
one.
I think this is an unpopular opinion, but I'll say it. That was my favorite branding I almost said LinkedIn, in Inspired's just evolution, that the periodic table.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
The white labels with the periodic table logo. I thought that was so cool back then. I mean, this whole look.
Chris is going to love that.
I think I said that to Chris a couple months ago, and he got. I mean, he's very proud of this stuff, right?
Course.
He's very proud of like the wild, crazy stuff. But I'm more of a minimalism person.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was like, it was powerful. There was so much, like, it was such a clean look. There's a lot going on now, which obviously people go wild for. I mean, that kind of branding is wild. On that note, I forgot to ask you, you're talking about new branding for V1 or new labeling, like going crazy with the looks.
Yeah.
Because of this new relationship, is Chris getting involved in the labeling, or like where is the new creative coming from? Where's that?
C-Dub will be involved.
Very cool.
C-Dub will absolutely be involved. Yeah, like, I mean, most likely what we're going to do is, Inspired to the point now where we have multiple designers.
For sure.
Thank God. We don't have just one, and it's not just only us. Like, when I came on, literally it was me and Chris designing everything. Like, back then, Chris didn't know Photoshop, and I was really good at Photoshop. So, like, even, like, on this label, the Devastator of the Union, like, I kind of laid, like, a base foundation layer for him, and then Chris Waldron went in and like illustrated it out and made print layers and actually made it something that could be printed and look cool. Like, if you look at all the old Intel labels, they're really cool labels, but they didn't have all these varnishes and all of these things that I don't know how to do. Like, Chris had that knowledge, so we made like a good little synergistic pair. But now finally, like, I'm not having to do any design at all anymore. You know, we've got a couple designers on staff, so likely what's going to happen is one of my favorite staff designers is going to go in and create something absolutely crazy. That's going to get flipped over to C-Dub. C-Dub's going to obviously do his thing in terms of compliance and in terms of print layers and making sure that it's not just a 2D, it's actually a 3D product that has like a look and feel to it. And yeah, dude, we're going to drop it into retailers all over America.
So behind the scenes on V1, I mean, it's mostly you. There's a few other people, maybe like your label person and everything. But How is that blending? Because are your D2C things still going to be kind of like your look and feel, or is C-Dub coming into there? Like,
we'll see. I think we'll see how it goes. It eventually probably make the brand stand out completely together.
Yeah.
And kind of blend exactly what he's doing with the first product that we do, and just kind of keep it going down the line with the new stuff. That would probably be ideal, but. Yeah, as for right now, I think the online will stay kind of online. Have a little bit of different look as far as wholesale, retail, and then slowly just kind of blend it all together.
For sure. Very cool.
Yeah. I think the identity will stay the same. You know, it'll be the same logo, a lot of the same colors.
Yeah.
You'll get the same feeling. It'll look a little more polished. And with this, relationship in terms of like what the rest of V1's going to do in the future, it's a very, very, very malleable and flexible relationship. And it's like that by design. There's both of these brands I feel like are like living entities, especially since KJ is V1, so I don't want to lock a 3-year agreement in place whenever we both know shit's about to change, like in a big way. Inspired, we haven't even started spending the investment capital on marketing yet, and we're up, like 120%, like from 2 months ago online, like just direct to consumer against a hard to beat month.
So what is that? Like what is that 120%? Is that turning the ads on? Is that better customer sentiment? Because not, I mean, not a lot has changed in those few months. I don't mean that offensively. I mean just like what is happening that is making that change for you?
So there's a lot of stuff happening in the back end that hasn't even been like brought to fruition yet. But a few things I'll say, like, we brought on a really good guy that's kind of filling the CMO position. Very, very experienced. He's, has ad buying history for Charming Charlie, Nick's Ice Cream, a lot of other massive brands that are like CPG or fashion and not necessarily related with our industry. And he is a media buyer and all of those things, but he's also really good with email flows. He's also really good with, any type of plugin that can be, put into Shopify. We've went from Shopify to Shopify Plus. We've implemented Triple Well. We're looking at other attribution tracking softwares. We put in, influencer marketing softwares that are actually doing things. We've started just a shit ton of things. I mean, we've spent a lot of money on infrastructure, putting people in places. We've hired a lot of new people. And then, most notably, and I think the biggest thing that's actually taking effect right now is just the fact that we relaunched the proteins, putting Protein Plus, ISOPF, and FSU serum out in a period of like 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, that's what's got us up 120%. Cool. We've got crazy new products. But what people don't know is Inspired also has, a $65,000 redesigned UX UI website that hasn't released, that, carries over into an app that, has all of these like different types of, subscription-based softwares where people are going to be able to save on their products if they take it all the time, like Multi, apps like Rebuy, like, and I'm literally given this is like the cheat code right here to scaling your brand, but like having creative and clever ways to cross-sell and upsell products, not just based on dollar amount or not just based on getting to a threshold, but all like actually based on hitting dosages, right? Like, imagine if a website could have a dosage calculator built into the back end of it for whatever ingredient is you're looking to take. And I'm like mentioning this specifically because KJ did a review on Ember Non-Stem and mentioned the fact that each serving is 250 milligrams of MitoBurn. And people are like, well, my non-stem fat burner is 1,500 milligrams of MitoBurn. Well, I hope you're not taking any other supplements anywhere else in anything you do, because you're just like diminishing the fuck out of your returns. We have MitoBurn in like 3 or 4 different products by design because we want our line to be stacked, right? Like, and if there's a goal that you're looking for, like maybe if your primary goal is burning fat or losing weight, we can show you the stacks that will get you to these dosages in all of these ingredients that are studied that do hit these claims. Like, and it's not that if you put out a product and it doesn't have 6 grams of citrulline in it or whatever your benchmark is that you're looking for, but it also tells you on the back to stack it with something else, your whole argument for the product being trash goes out the window, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of people that like to talk about dosages right now, which is really convenient.
Right.
It's funny. I'm kind of reminded of the stacking conversation we were just talking about, where it's like, I like all of it because you want to pull people into the brand.
Yeah.
You want them to take, FSU serum. You want them to stack that alongside other things that are going to give you those same ingredients. You're going to take all of these things and in a day you're going to get all that together.
Yeah.
I also respect that in retail you might not be cross-selling a lot of Inspired. Right. And so for the person who has 1,500 milligrams in their fat burner, they might just be banking on you just getting that fat burner.
Yeah.
But in this direct-to-consumer conversation here, where we're talking about cross-selling, upselling, you're talking about creating a basket for these people, like, that makes a lot of sense. And I don't think a lot of people realize, like, how much that UI, UX, that whole design, that customer experience, the flow, the retargeting, getting them back to all that stuff, how much that can change your monthly revenue.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing. It's like, this information is for our consumers to have and know, and I think it's cool if they know what we're doing on the back end to try and build the business, obviously, which is earning their business, earning their money, but at the same time for other brand owners too, like, you have to put out value in some way, shape, or form. And at the end of the day, like, if this is the things that we're doing, like, you asked me the question, so I'm going to give it to you as real and as true and as fucking honest as I can. And, at the end of the day, like, people, if they think I'm exposing myself, I'm absolutely not. Like, there's 35,000 things that are a lot more vital and important than what I'm actually giving. But you can trust that what I'm giving is the truth, and I'm giving enough to show vulnerability and giving enough to show that, hey, like, there's confidence in this actual path that we take. And I'm not going to give you every little step. I'm just going to show you the way.
Well, you can give out the recipe, but it doesn't mean it's going to taste the same. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, So KJ, you're like super successful D2C wise. It's the only part of your business that you sell through, right? So that you put all your eggs in that basket, and that's been really helpful. But how much of this like consumer experience thing have you actually built out? Because you do a lot of limited drops.
Yeah. So, dude, that's the thing is I haven't even tried to tap into that whole area. So I feel like the opportunity there is unbelievable because I really honestly don't care much about our designs. I want them to look decent, but at that point it's like I'm selling it. And if people trust me and they believe in the product and believe in me in V1, they could care less about what it looks like. Whereas the opposite side, it kind of has to look very good, very eye appealing. You have to have a little call outs on there that speak to people, and like that's completely different than what I'm doing.
Well, I love that what you built, because the way that I look at it, there's 500 mastermind courses for Shopify. There's tons of Shopify experts on LinkedIn that will cold call you and try to pitch you like all their services. Anyone can do that. Anyone can build funnels and serve them to people and get them hooked on some monthly subscription and hope that they're not going to see it on their bank account. And, you know, everyone can do that. Force Factor killed it back in the day with that stuff, you know, like that is easy, but you built a brand that people want to buy from. So, you know, I assume you've amassed an email newsletter. Yeah. You've got a lot of people that you can target. And that sounds negative, but I think people need to realize that they're buying into these situations, right? Yeah. So when KJ turns that on, or when Inspired turns that on in conjunction with KJ, it's going to be so much more compelling.
Yes.
Right? And so we were talking about authenticity at the beginning of this. Yep. I think that's the most important thing here. Because anyone can build a brand that has buyers, and it can be lifeless, but you have actually like a personality in this that people want to support, which is beautiful, because once you start putting in these value adds for consumers, all of a sudden people are going to want to buy from you that much more. Yeah. I mean, I'm not on TikTok that much. I just send content there, and whatever it does, it does. But I'm sure you've seen how many dozens of influencers that have made their own brand, right?
Oh,
They're like, I'm going to throw it up on Shopify and see if it sells.
And it's like, there is a difference between kind of what I did and what all these other people are doing. It's like, I started in the beginning not pushing my brand. I started reviewing, giving away value like we said before, and that's what people bought into. And then I throw out there, hey, I got this new brand, this new product that I'm creating. Here's how it's different. Buy it, support me if you want to. If not, cool. I appreciate all the content or all the engagement you give on my content. And I keep doing the reviews and keep giving away good value for free. Yeah. And everybody now is just starting brands saying, buy my shit. It's the best, blah, 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 without even providing anybody with this. So I'm always like, they always come to me with questions like that, like, how did you do in the beginning? And it's like, you have to give away stuff first. Yeah. Get people into your kind of whole relationship with your whole, culture, but that's how you got to do it. You can't just straight out start your brand without having anything. Even just telling the story of how you created your brand helps other people. It's like,
I mean,
I want to do it.
I see the promise in it because there's a lot of people with opinions on the internet, but I find it very interesting. Like in my Discord community, people could tell you like what KJ likes, right? Like I've seen it with our. My brand is like, if there's high tyrosine in a product, people will be like, oh, Ben would like that.
Yeah.
Right? That's like cool that people attach someone else's preference for things. Like there's a legitimate connection because of that value you've given out there. Things that you like, what you prefer, what you look for. And obviously your products are probably going to be in line with that. But even if they're not, you're giving out information that people then can use themselves. Like one of the drivers in my content that I think about is like, I want to give people the tools to make those decisions for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
right?
100%.
I really never tell people like, you should buy this, I never really like try to like give ultimatums or any sort of like definitive conclusions on something being good or bad, but I explain what's in it, how those things will work, and what kind of experience that would give to you. Because then when people look at another combination of those ingredients, they can understand
exactly.
it. Like
100%.
You might not actually review Devastated of the Union. You might review 5 other pre-workouts that are similar to that. And then when they read that, they'll understand it a little bit better.
Yeah. Yep.
For sure. Just to throw out there, guys, the camera's full of storage.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So both of them.
My God.
I've been filming.
How long have we been going for?
An hour and a half, about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's about time. All right. Well, you want to swap some SD cards and do you
I don't have another one, but we can keep recording on this one, or I can flip it over there.
I I have the most of it on my phone. Like I have the whole thing recorded, but it's now on my phone.
Okay.
Okay. Well, still going.
Well, you want to get like one last little good bit and close it out if there's anything else we want to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. That's fine with me, dude. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to throw
This
in
has
there.
been all of it. You guys give me a ton of really good clips out of this. Some good real shit.
Hopefully a little bit comes from it.
Dude, you need to make that an actual segment. Real shit.
Real shit. I
Real
think that
shit
would work.
by
That'd be
PricePlow.
good, yeah.
No,
That
it
would
would.
work.
I'm telling you right now, this shit would have the fucking streets jumping, bro. Damn.
V1 drops maybe? Like,
Okay.
Yeah, not a ton. I mean, I'm really pushing protein. People seem to really grab onto our protein. It's solid. I mean, I love it, but I think especially our main things, we're trying to restock, trying to get stuff in. Like I said before the podcast, we're trying to do things every couple weeks instead of, yes, we sell out quick, but it's like me throwing all this cash that I have and okay, we have 4 products now of like thousands of units, and then we drop it on a single day, and then the hype slowly dwindles down until 2 months later I can get enough cash to be okay, here's another massive drop.
Yeah.
It's better that we space it out now as from a business model, and especially doing the wholesale side, drop 1 or 2 products every couple weeks, restock and stuff, and bring stuff back rather than limited. And it's like, okay, now all these products aren't even limited because it's just like they're all different and you don't even have normal stuff in stock.
so is the goal to increase the volume to the point where it isn't limited anymore and it lasts around longer?
Correct. Yeah. My goal by the end of the year is having 2 or 3 products of or flavors of V1 in stock, a couple of V1 Ultimates, a couple protein powders. And like, we've never done that ever.
And so those would be ongoing, and then you would sprinkle in, I'm assuming,
Correct.
limiteds on top of
Correct.
that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
That would be super
Much more
ideal.
sustainable.
Yes.
Right? Just from a revenue perspective, a little more forecastable, right?
Yes.
Knowing when that stuff's going to come in. Does that look like just increasing volumes with your contract manufacturers? Does that...
Most likely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the restocks instead of consistently new flavor, limited. It's okay. We'll bring back mango peach rings every couple months.
Okay.
And make sure that's in stock because people like it, and that's the main thing. Is like we come out with awesome product like the chocolate chip banana bread, which we're restocking in 2 weeks, and people love it. But we did 1,000 units. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Does anyone from your side on like a supply chain perspective end up helping out there? Is that something that because that seems like a nice little synergy there because you want to be all in on content, and if you're constantly watching these orders and stuff like that, I mean, I don't know how often you're ordering. That might be.
I think we're finally getting down a little bit of something. I mean, Landon could definitely help out. He has a bunch of connections, which he's helping with for the wholesale side that we're doing. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of being able to plan it out, and we're slowly starting to. Like, we have 2 flavors of V1, 1 flavor Ultimate. We only have 1 protein powder in stock, but we'll get there by the end of the year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
People underestimate the challenge of balancing, sell through with cash flow, and like trying to forecast something as fickle as social media, bro. Like that sounds just damn near impossible, So like one thing we're going to do that I think is going to help him a ton is when all of the V1 products that are going to go through distribution, at least for the beginning of the arrangement, it's all going to be paid for by Inspired. So he's not going to be out of his pocket at all when it comes to the first wholesale release.
So just the product being purchased for the wholesale release.
Yes,
Very cool.
just for the wholesale side. So basically what you're going to see is V1 beginning those baby steps of getting towards a sustainable reoccurring line is going to be that product that is sold wholesale. Like that product will probably stay the same for the foreseeable future. It'll be available online as well at a certain point. Maybe not in the very, very beginning. Maybe it will. We still haven't even decided that. But we have control of supply chain, right? Because when you first start running a business, that's like honestly one of the hardest things to do. Unless you have a ton of financial backing, unless you have a massive credit line, right? Or unless you already have infrastructure from something else that you're doing that's similar, it's hard to get that balancing act straight. Throw on top of that you need terms, and then you throw on top of that, like if you don't have any credit terms, but you're trying to close a big retailer, they're going to require those terms. Like, it's hard to keep things in stock that are popular no matter what like at a small stage. Once you start adding in like retailers and things like that, it gets like 3 times as complicated, because now your margins aren't retail margins anymore, they're wholesale margins, and you're getting paid 30 days later, and you still need to order it a little bit sooner because your runs are a little bit bigger, so it's going to take longer for you to get it. There's a lot of shit that could go wrong there that I think
you're on their timeline too.
Yes, all the time, and that I think we're going to avoid. And like, I think Konlan, he's to the point now where his run sizes are getting a little bit bigger because he is, no longer limited. Things are going to stay around a little longer, which means he's going to be able to order more labels at once, right? He's going to be able to order more units at once. His cost over time is slowly going to go down, and he's eventually going to get to a place where he can cash flow that sustainably, steady, and keep those products in stock. And the hope is, all of this additional revenue from the wholesale side, one, that's going to speed that process up because he's going to have a lot of additional revenue to keep his online products in stock, but it's also going to be the profit he needs to continue to innovate and put out, more products, whether it's for wholesale or online. But either way, we're going to keep both avenues of it exciting. Like, the really cool, insanely crazy shit most likely is going to be v1nutra.com, like the 500 units only, 1,000 units only limiteds. But I guess the diamonds or the best work that can be done, it's still going to be found in the store. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be the one-off, crazy, insane, supreme version.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, with all that said, people probably already know where we can find you, but let's sign off. KJ, where can we find you on social media?
v1nutra.com for V1. Just Konlan.James for Instagram, KJ Performance Nutrition TikTok.
Super easy for me. Fade with the 4 where the A goes. So PH4DE on all socials, at Inspired Nutra, inspirednutra.com. Yeah.
Awesome.
Where we're at.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks
This has
for
been really
coming
fun.
on, dude. Yeah.
I think I'm really excited to put this content out there.
We could have probably kept going a couple more hours.
Yeah.
don't know.
I want to say thank you to Kayla for manning the
seriously.
camera. If you weren't carrying that camera, I'd say let's keep going. But
Yeah.
very cool. Awesome. Well, more to come from all this. Thank you guys.